Stop, I will not, till you're mozzarella, feeding a family of 45. I said, stop, I will not, till you're mozzarella, feeding a family of 45. Stop, I will not, until you're mozzarella, and you're feeding a family of 45. Oh, you're feeding a family of 45. Stop. Stop! I will not. Stop! I will not. Until you're mozzarella. Feeding a family of 45. Yes, I know. I just sang it a second ago. You can't just take my freaking lines away from me, you bastard. You fucking son of cartoons. You will never. Hell. Can you imagine having all that energy and saying something you really believed in? Oh, man. A bug. I'll get that bug. Actually, he's gone now. Man, I don't know. I've never watched actually the Adolf Hitler guy speak, and if I have, I never understood him. I'm sure he says more than just about what the Jew. I'm sure he's talking about more than the Jews. I mean, it's not like the whole speech is about the Jews. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm sure he had a lot of good points. I don't know them. What I do know is that he would go and he would get his army to raid, and he would go capture the artwork, and like look at it and then destroy it. He would destroy the art of the culture. He would wipe out the culture by wiping out the art, but not until he saw it himself. Isn't that weird? I don't believe in that. I think that's crap, man. I think that it's bullshit to be destroying shit like that, and you never can. Like, weren't the Mayan culture? It wasn't that in question. Like, oh no, it's wiped out. It's not wiped out. There's resurfaced, and people picked up where it left off. You know, cultures are never destroyed. They're just dormant sometimes. Eternity's a long time, my friends. It goes in cycles and orbits. Oh, is it the middle of the Dark Ages again? Well, looks like we're completely out of hope and we'll never be in the light again, which we are already right now. So, wrong. You know not. Let me explain something to you. Competition with alternative technologies such as wireless communications, product compatibility, consumer preferences, rapid product obsolescence, and research and development of new products, technological limitations may make the products and services of telecommunication companies obsolete. What was that? Technological innovations may make the products and services of telecommunications companies obsolete. Other risks include uncertainties resulting from such companies' diversification into new domestic and international businesses, as well as agreements by any such companies linking future rate increases to inflation or other factors not directly related to the actual operating profits of the enterprise. I've never read that before. I've never read that line before. Never. It's not like I have it memorized. Unconstrained sector where the fund may invest a substantial portion of its assets within one or more economic sectors or industries. That word that they use for finance sounds like if I was gonna the fund index telling you. What I mean is a semiconductor company's risks. A fund is subject to the risk that market. A fund is subject to the risk that the fund is subject to the risk that market or economic factors impacting semiconductor companies and companies that rely heavily on technological events and may have a major effect on the value of the fund's investments. You gotta never need air. Never need air. The value of stocks of semiconductor companies and companies that rely heavily on technology is particularly vulnerable to rapid changes in product cycles, rapid product obsolescence, government regulation, and competition, both domestically and internationally, including competition from foreign competitors with lower production costs. Semiconductor companies and companies that rely heavily on technology, especially those of smaller, lesser seasoned companies, tend to be more volatile than the overall market. Additionally, semiconductor companies may face dramatic and often unpredictable changes in growth rates and competition for the services, qualified personnel, settlement risk. Markets in different countries may have different clearances and settlement procedures, and in certain markets there have been times when settlements have been unable to keep pace with the volume of transactions. Delays in settlement may increase credit risk to a fund, limit the ability of fund to invest in products of the sale for securities, hinder the ability of a fund to lend its portfolio securities, and potentially subject the fund to penalties for its failure to deliver to on purchasers of securities whose delivery of the fund was delayed. The securities of a small cap. Where's my podium? market or economic factors impacting technology or companies, and companies that rely heavily on technological advances could have a major effect on the value of a fund's investments. What's that? It looks like... Oh no, it's gone. Wait, there's another one. Wait, where is it now? Oh, it was spit. It was spit from myself, I imagine. Okay. Hello? Is this thing on? Hello, hello? Check. Check 1, 2. Yes, I would like to have my small capitalization security risk. Yes, yes. Hello? Yes, the securities of a small capitalization company may be more volatile and may involve more of a risk than the securities of larger companies. These companies may have limited product lines, markets, or financial resources, may lack the competitive strength of larger companies, and may depend on a few key employees. In addition, these companies may have been recently organized or may have little or no track record of success. The securities of smaller companies may trade less frequently and in smaller volumes and more widely held securities. The prices of the securities may fluctuate more sharply than those of other securities, and the fund may experience some difficulty in establishing or closing out positions in the securities prevailing on market prices. There may be some difficulty in establishing or closing out positions in the securities at prevailing market prices. There may be less publicly available information about the issuers or the securities, or less market interest in these securities, and in the case of larger companies, both of which can cause significant product volatility. Dude, you gotta never need air. I can't believe I can only read like one sentence at a time. That's fucked, dude. The sentences are long, but seriously, one at a time? Fuck, dude, they're long, they're run-ons, but still, man. I bet in past lives I was way better at this. What's up with this life being like so bad on my breathing? What's up with smoking? Has it always been like this for me? I feel like smoking in the past would have been a survival mechanism. You know, if you're gonna smoke, it's because the atmosphere was, you know, questionable. What I'm doing it for now, I could never. It's like, imagine a habit. Imagine doing it habitually. Imagine doing it habitually because you're not even really from here. Imagine that. I fell down to earth from 1,000 miles away, but I still make it work. But it's overrated and frustrating. Well, I never want to see you and I never want to miss you again. Go away. I don't ever want to see you and I never want to miss you again. No way. You're go and then you treat me like I'm worth nothing. No way. Electronic media companies create, own, and distribute various forms of technology-based visual, audio, and interactive content, as well as information databases that they sell or lease to others. As well as information databases that they sell or lease to others. As well as information databases that they sell and lease to others. As well as information databases that they sell and they lease to others. As well as information databases that they sell and that they lease to others. As well as information databases that they sell and lease to others. Electronic media companies create, own, and distribute. Electronic media companies create, own, and distribute. Electronic media companies create, own, and distribute. Electronic media companies create, own, and distribute various forms of technology-based visual, audio, and interactive content, as well as information databases they sell or lease to others. Electronic media companies can be adversely affected by, among other things, changes in government regulation, intense competition, dependency on patent protection, regulation, intense competition, dependency on patent protection, and rapid obsolescence of products, services due to product compatibility or changing consumer preferences. Wow. Okay. This will be on the test. You don't think so? You don't think this will be on the fucking test? This is the test. They're like, dude, until you read that, we really can't go on. We really can't proceed until you read all of it. I'm like, dude, you know how much of this there is? I mean, this goes on forever. Imagine how many lifetimes I found my passion and just spun with my word continuously. I could have filled up pages forever. I could fill pages forever. Imagine if I had the thing I had when I was doing these, and then the things that they could mean were made before me, before my eyes, and evening language, where it comes from, take it back, reverse it, right there, up, fear as your rocks, reverse it up, and right there, up, fear as your rocks, reverse it up, and right there, reverse it up, fear as your rocks. Fear as your rocks, reverse it up, and right there, reverse it up, and now fear as your rocks, reverse it up, and right there, reverse and here, but say, bear rocks, and rest the fair, the bear lair, the hair, and versing rocks, and top its own mark. The telecommunications industry is subject to effective government regulation. Suggestive government regulation. Governmental regulations. Government. Oh, you mean the government. Oh, you mean the government. Well, turns out we do have something in common after all. Affected by intense competition, including crowdsourced a friend of us, green to fall forever through endless thorn screen office. Could you imagine falling forevermore? Competitive altars, technology, scald and cure, wireless communications, my friends, war. A warless could all. Warless suffering. Warless suffer is where I come from, a war-torn arena. A war-torn area, all war suffering. It's so nice here, but I cannot stay. I don't think I may stay. Though I prefer it, I don't think it would be wise, since I do have the ability to find Atlantis, breathe underwater, breathe up in space on the moon. I have lots of skills that I underutilize. How do you know that? I don't remember. Among the risks that may affect utility companies are the following. Risks of increases in fuel and other operating costs, the high cost of borrowing to finance capital construction during inflationary periods, restrictions on operation. See, all these words mean something. It's not like none of it is nonsense. None of it. When I say it like how I was, it can sound like nonsense, but none of it is. The words they use are very meaningful. They're full of meaning. Every single one. Every single word is full of meaning. It's like bulging. It's engorged. It's swollen with meaning. Each and every one. Risks of increases in fuel and other operating costs. The high cost of borrowing to finance capital construction during inflationary periods, restrictions on operations, and increased costs and delays associated with compliance with environmental and nuclear safety regulations, and the difficulties involved in obtaining natural gas for resale or fuel for generating electricity at reasonable prices. Other risks include those related to the construction and operation of nuclear power plants. What am I? The effect of energy conservation and the effects of regulatory changes. What, am I going to have a meltdown? That could be very destructive. A meltdown is out of the question. I will never have a meltdown. If I have a meltdown, it will look something like this. It's not a meltdown at all. Value stocks present the risk that they may decline in price or never reach their expected full market value because the market fails to recognize the stock's intrinsic worth. Value stocks may underperform growth stocks and stocks in other broad style categories, and the stock market as a whole, over any period of time, and may shift in and out of favor with investors generally, sometimes rapidly, depending on changes in market, economic, and other factors. As a result, at times, when it holds substantial investments in value stocks, a fund may underperform other investment portfolios that invest more broadly or that favor different investment styles. Are you telling me that a fund may be outperformed by other than a fund? I don't believe it, and I will never believe it until I'm leaving this place to see it for myself. Never has a fund been outperformed. You're like, hey, I got a question. What's a fund? What's the question, sir? What's a fund? Are you asking me what's a fund? Yeah, what's a fund? A fund is what I am. A fund is what we are. A fund is valuable. A fund is where the money is. A fund is what we are, what God gives us through grace and spirit. A fund is our energy. A fund is our movement. A fund is how we don't drop ourselves. We can carry who we are, what we think, and we can carry ourselves. That's a fund, my friend. Fuck a money, fuck a cash grant, fuck it all besides your ass, bitches, don't you know? You're a fund, you're the money, your movement, skill, total package from the Lord above. Fuck a ceiling, what the fuck are you doing focusing on a fucking ceiling, dog? Be outside.